This is FBG Jen.
And FBG Kristen.
And I'm FBG Margot, host and producer. You're listening to the podcast that will help you keep a lid on the junk in the trunk and inspire you to live a happy and confident life.
Each episode, we chat with motivational experts and celebs and share our own candid adventures in being healthy.
If you're looking for a podcast that's equal parts hilarious and enlightening, well then welcome to the Fit Bottomed Girls podcast.
Life is too short to waste time on things that just aren't important. And you weren't put here to worry about your weight or the number on the scale. If you're ready to break free from all that diet culture BS, if you're ready to take your power back, check out fitbottomgirls.com/coaching to learn more about our signature online program, Love Your Body, Love Your Life. Welcome back to the Fit Bottom Girls podcast. This is FBG Margot, and on the line today, we have FBG Kristen.
Yo, yo, yo.
And FBG Jen.
Yo!
I went another way.
I barely even knew how to respond.
I'm telling you guys, up is down today.
I just copied Kristen. I was like, we're saying yo. Okay, cool. We're saying yo.
Well, you've got the whole gang here, and that's all that matters. And our guest today for the interview is Maurice Summers. She has a gym here in Brooklyn, and she is really big on body positivity. She's a fitness trainer, and she's a really cool chick. You guys are going to really like listening to her message. Like I said, body positive. She's very encouraging. And she's really all about kind of embracing your inner child. And one of her favorite things to do around Brooklyn, which I've got to go with her sometime, they like to run around on the playgrounds for their workouts, you know, and I got to join these people sometime. But so I wanted to talk to you about, like, what were your favorite activities when you were younger, or what were you scared to try when you were younger? And then what kind of exercise, play do you do now that helps you feel young?
Jen, do you want to go?
I thought you're going first today. I think you should go first today.
Okay.
Yeah, in reverse order.
So as a kid, I was scared of a lot of things. I'm still scared of a lot of things, honestly. So I think, I really loved, though, this will not shock anybody, I loved dance and I loved gymnastics, but not like being on the beam or, spinning around the uneven bars or anything like that. But like, tumbling type gymnastics. Like I loved that stuff. And I loved the way it felt when I accomplished something new. And, when I remember, being able to get to like 100 hand walks, like that was such a big deal. Or, just certain little moves that felt like such huge benchmarks for me. And I remember that was just one of those things that I felt like I could really own and feel very, very proud of, because it didn't come naturally to me at all. Like I've never been flexible, strong. Yeah. But I loved that. And I still love, even in yoga, when we get to do, headstands and things like that, like, it really, really doesn't come easily to me now, but it's pretty fun to sometimes just flip myself around and do something that feels really out of my daily, ordinary activity,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think it's funny because you just made me think of it. I tried a couple of gymnastics classes when I was a kid, and I was so inflexible that it was like, I think I left in tears, like a couple of times. Like I was like, I don't think this is for me. This is so easy for all of these other kids, and like I can't do anything. Thanks for bringing that back. That's okay. But it's funny because now when I play with like my daughter on the playground, there are certain things like she sees other kids like go over the monkey bars and she'll kind of do it, but she wants me to hold her, and then she'll kind of go upside down, but she kind of gets freaked out, and I'm like, oh girl, I feel you. I know what that's like, she's still a crazy little monkey, but that's still, I think for me, so obviously gymnastics wasn't a sticking thing for me that I kept at, but like my mom taught me how to play tennis, and and I think I was about in second or third grade, and she knew how to play, and she's like, "Yeah, we'll go on the court and just hit some balls." And I kind of took to it, and I really, really liked it, and it was a fun thing for us to do together. And then my dad would join us too, so like, became a big family thing. And then, I mean, I went on to play in high school and competitively and all that sort of stuff. It was like really, really fun, and I hope to kind of pass it on as well. But when it comes to scary things, besides gymnastics, like I don't know really anyone, unless one of you are about to blow my mind, that enjoyed climbing the rope in
Nope.
PE. Like, I don't know why they make you do that anyway. But yes, that was another point where I had a total meltdown as a kid. I was like, I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I can't. Da, da, da. And what's funny, and I actually wrote a whole post about this, is at my gym, the Fit Pit in Kansas City. Yeah, like we do rope climbs, and it took me a lot of physical strength, yes, because it does take physical strength, and you kind of have to learn the technique. Once you know the technique, that gets easier. But I had to get over that quasi-childhood trauma and fear and get up it. And then, once now I climb ropes. I mean, I don't currently because I'm pregnant, but when I'm not, I can go up like really high ropes, and sometimes it still scares the ever-loving what out of me, but I still do it, and it's still so dang empowering and feels so cool. So it's kind of nice for me to reclaim that childhood activity, if you will.
I was a kid that was scared of baseballs and softballs. Like I like to swing at them, but I'm afraid of I could never be a pitcher or on first base or something. So I usually had to be in the outfield because I was just one of those. I look like a weird girl. Like, oh no, it's gonna hit me in the face. Like I don't know why. I always was scared of them. But I could play kickball for days. And I was always the first girl picked in my neighborhood. It was just all boys. So I was I haven't played kickball in a long time. I really need to try that because it did make me feel super young when I was young. I just felt great. But for me now as an adult, I did a trapeze class for the Fit Bottom girls.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And it scared the bejesus out of me.
Reading about it scared the bejesus out of me.
It was so terrifying. I'll never do that again. So that's just
But
something.
you did it.
But I did it. No, I was talking to somebody the other day. They went skydiving for the first time, and I was just like a big nope. And he said, "You know what? It's just the moment you jump out that's scary." He's like,
Yeah.
Everything else around it isn't. I'm like, yeah, but you can get smushed anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just the heights I'm just not very good at. So now when I want to feel younger, I just get on my bike and go for a bike ride, and it always makes me feel like I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's really cool. That was not very long ago. I had a chance to go out to California with Cannondale bikes, and let's see, when is this going live? Yeah, I can say it. So they have a bike coming out that really that was their whole thing, was they wanted to capture that feeling of when you were a kid and you went around riding your bike. You weren't doing it for fitness. You weren't doing it because oh, well, this is the eco-friendly way to commute. You were doing it because you loved being out on your damn bike. Mm-hmm. And so they created this lightweight but super rugged bike that you can use for commuting, you can use for fun. And it was we just rode up and down the boardwalk from Venice to Santa Monica and did a city tour of Venice. And it really was it was super fun. And it kind of reignited my love of just what you were saying, Margot, get on your bike and just go around and ride.
You feel like
Get
a
on
kid.
your bikes and ride.
You do.
Yeah. Like the wind in
We
your
could all
hair
use-
yeah.
We could all use more fun.
Yeah, it's the best.
could.
Except going up a hill. That's when it's work. But when I'm but it's a flat road on a summer day. I'm going out on Long Island, going to the beach or something. I swear to God, I feel like I'm 10 years old again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, Jen, do you want to talk about this roundtable that we did recently?
Yeah. So I believe in this interview, there's definitely a lot of body positivity and talking about how fit bottoms, don't come in all shapes and sizes, and you can look a lot of different ways and be fit. Fitness does not look a certain way, and fitness should be for all. So I think that is kind of a natural progression into, if you haven't listened to our roundtable yet that we did a few episodes back, That was episode
108.
108. Cool. Just looked it up, forgot it. Episode 108, where we talk about size inclusivity in the fitness industry. So if you listen to this conversation and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like I would like more information on that. I think the three of us have a really kind of interesting, candid talk about what goes on with trainers and fitness clubs and just some of the different language that is used for better or for worse and how we kind of wish things would change. So yeah, it's a good listen, I think.
It is a good listen, and I love doing that show. That was really fun.
Hmm.
All right, so you know what else is fun?
What?
Stickers. Fit Bottom Girls stickers are super fun, and we've got them for you guys. They won't cost you a penny. Just send us an email, podcast@fitbottomgirls.com, and we will throw one or two in the mail for you, and you can just stick it on your notebook, your Trapper Keeper, your laptop, wherever you put your stickers. And please feel free to follow us on all social media and reach out and say hi there, by the way. Let us know you're listening to the show. We'd love to hear from you guys. And if you can leave a review, if you get your podcast on Apple, iTunes, if you like the show, leave a few stars. That's awesome. If you have a minute to leave a review, that'd be great. And if you leave a 5-star review, we will read it on the air. So I guess we'll just get right into our interview with Maurice Summers. Diets and restrictions don't work. After years of experience in our own lives and with thousands of readers, listeners, and followers, we know that the information and formula in our signature online program, Love Your Body, Love Your Life, does. And by listening to this podcast, you can save 20% when you use the code FBG Podcast. So sign up and save at fitbottomgirls.com/coaching. Today, our guest is curvy fit Instagram influencer, Maurice Summers. Since 2007, Morit has been defying industry standards with her all-inclusive fitness approach. She has trained celebrities including curvy model Ashley Graham and actress Danielle Brooks. Dubbed a 2018 fitness trainer to follow on Instagram by Self magazine, this trailblazer has been featured in The New York Times, Vogue, Shape, Health, Refinery 29, Well and Good, and Fabu Plus. Morit recently opened Form Fitness, a brick-and-mortar training gym based in Brooklyn. It's dedicated to an all-inclusive fitness philosophy. So welcome to the show, Morit.
Hi.
Hi. This is FBG Margot, and on the line today we have FBG Kristen.
Hello.
And by the way, I'm based in Brooklyn as well. So we are so excited to have you on the show today. Can you please give us a bit of your background and how you began your fitness and wellness journey?
Sure. So I was about 14 years old and overweight and truly hated gym class, was embarrassed to be there. And I asked my parents if I could join the local New York sports club, and they said yes. And they had to come in with me and sign me up because I was still a minor and all of that. And at the time, they actually were able to afford a personal trainer for me. And so I started working with a trainer, and I fell in love with the gym, and my love of the gym just kept growing. And so throughout high school, I would go every day after school. And when it was time to go to college, I was like, well, what do I want to study? I have no idea. And then I was like, well, why not study exercise science and kind of continue what I love to do? So I went to SUNY Cortland, upstate New York, and I majored in exercise science and kinesiology, and I was a personal trainer starting my senior year, something like that. And college was over, and I started training, and I've been a trainer ever since. So my personal journey with exercise has changed multiple times throughout the years, but basically I've been in a gym since I'm 14 years old.
Wow, how cool to have found something you're that passionate about that early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about democratizing fitness. That's something that I know you feel really strongly about. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what exactly that phrase means to you and what it is that you're doing to move toward that goal.
Basically, I feel as though everyone should have the opportunity to move and feel comfortable moving. And so I'm trying to create a space where people feel comfortable in the idea that not everyone is at the same level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does.
Sorry. So basically, the fitness world is really geared towards all these people that they all want to look good naked, and everybody is always training because it's like we all have to look a certain way, and everybody only eats chicken and broccoli, or at least that's the way that we see it, right? Like with videos and pictures and Instagram and all of that stuff. Yeah. And so what I'm trying to do is create a space and a following of people that realize that like movement doesn't have to be that. Movement can be whatever you want it to be, because you are different than the next person and your body is different than the next person.
So how, I guess, aside from creating a brick and mortar space, could you talk a little bit more about what you're doing to create a culture that really supports, I guess, like fitness inclusivity, sort of what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the steps that you're taking there? And I mean, kind of keep in mind, like, you're talking our readers or am. So like, if there are things that all of us can be doing more of to help support that, like, lay it out there. We are listening.
So, I think I'm still growing, and I like want to do so many more things, and it's just a matter of like one step at a time, because I'm a one woman run show, and I have a very small group of people that are helping me kind of figure out what the next steps are. But right now it is about opening the gym space and creating a Form Fitness, and creating a space where clients can come in and learn, and even if it's just learning how to do a simple squat or how to do a simple push-up, or just learning how to move their bodies the way that they want to move their bodies. So right now my focus is mainly that. But generally speaking, like even through social media and stuff, I'm trying to get the message out there that everyone should just be moving and that we have to start. And so I think what I'm finding from most of my following is that the hardest part for people is the starting. And so what can we do to get people to help people to start? I say, why not just like go outside for a 5-minute walk, like put it in your calendar and start there, or look up a YouTube video, or look up even an Instagram video, look up something from someone that you look up to, someone that you feel that you can do the movements with, and just try doing what they're doing. Even if it's not right, who cares? It's still movement.
Well, let's talk about Form Fitness. So I want to know, what is it like to own your own, brick and mortar space, and what sets you apart from your competition? And then after that, also as a follow-up, what are some of the biggest lessons you've been learning as a business owner? There's a lot there. Sorry.
So I will say that it feels really surreal to own my own brick and mortar gym. I'm really excited about it. And I think that, we've only been open about a month and a half, but I think there's a lot of big things to come. And there's a couple things that I wish I could give you a little more about, but nothing's set in stone yet. So I don't want to give anything away, but we definitely will be doing monthly workshops. And part of the reason we're doing these workshops is not for anybody to be making any money. It's really to be, again, like giving the opportunity of movement, which I'm excited about because, as a personal trainer working one-on-one with people, I can only hit so many people at a time. So I think by offering workshops, we can help more people, if that makes sense. So I'm excited about that. And then what was the follow-up? Oh, what have I about owning a business? So here's what I've noticed for myself. And I think this is kind of a big deal for people generally. We all are creatures of habit. And so when we are someone who's in a routine and like every day we kind of do the same thing, it's really good for us in a way, like on the health spectrum. My life has been a little crazy the last couple months. And so I've even noticed that my stress level is way higher than it normally has been. My eating has not been as good as it could be, even though it's, I'm the person who's supposed to be preaching health and eating well and all of that. Not everyone's perfect. And so it's been kind of a rough couple months in that sense for myself. So, you know, there are things that even though I was like as prepared as can be, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So in general, what's your biggest motivation when it comes to living a fit and healthy life?
That's a good question. So it kind of takes me back a long time ago. So I always saw, so I'm basically a doppelganger of my grandmother, my grandmother who passed away a few years back, but we have the same exact body type. And she wasn't a very active woman. And, you know, she was always complaining about how much her body hurt and things like that. And even at a young age, I was like, I really don't want to live like that. And so that was kind of the first motivation that pushed me in terms of longevity to be like, you know, life, you know, this is a long-term goal. This is not just like I want to lose weight tomorrow thing. But then for the most part, like recently my motivations have been, I really like being strong and I really like seeing the progress, like watching myself get stronger at things, seeing from even a few months ago, I couldn't do more than one pull-up at a time, and now I can do 2 at a time, things like that. So seeing progress is a big motivation for me.
Yeah. So has any of that, I mean, now like with owning a gym and putting more of your message out on social media, I imagine that you're becoming a little bit more of a public figure. Does that factor in with things you feel like you need to be doing or activities you feel like you need to be trying? Or are you kind of just like, nope, I'm staying my course. I know what I want to do and that's what I'm going to stick to?
That's a good question. So for the most part, I am always happy to like try new things. I really enjoy, you know, learning and doing different things, but I also really feel strongly about the way I train and the way that I do I have my own goals. They're not other people's goals. And so I'm kind of sticking with what I feel best about. And like, I don't think that should change based on if I'm a public figure or not, if that makes sense. Like, I have a following because I am who I am. I'm not trying to be anybody else.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what is your fitness routine? And are there any kind of workouts or classes or anything like that you're really just dying to try? I mean, I know you're super, super busy right now, but when you have a little bit more time, you know, what would you look forward to trying in the future?
So right now I'm a member at CrossFit South Brooklyn in Gowanus, Brooklyn. And I have a coach, Arturo Ruiz, and he writes my programs for me. So even as a personal trainer, I always recommend that that all trainers and people have a separate coach, someone who can, like, from the outside perspective, help you, you know, do the things that you don't always want to do, for example. So he writes my program, which is 5 times a week, and I do heavy lifting, Olympic weightlifting, and then like cardio. Like, it's cardio, but I'm not on any machines. I'm doing kind of what they call cyclical work. So I'm box jumps and burpees and jump rope and all sort of stuff like that. In the past, I've done boxing, which I love. I absolutely love boxing. I just haven't done that in a long time. And if I did have more time in my life, I would probably be taking at least 1 boxing class a week, at least 1 yoga class a week, just for the, like, you know, changing it up factor. I truly wish that it was easier to swim in New York City and in Brooklyn. Find a place to do some laps. I love swimming. In terms of taking different, like, new classes, I've taken Soul Cycle, I've done Flywheel, I've basically tried almost everything. I know, you know, there's all sorts of different boot camp classes now. They're all, listen, everybody has their own branding to it, but a lot of the stuff is the same, because how many different ways could you possibly do a burpee, if that makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that from a negative place. I'm just saying that, like, you know, find the place that you're happy at and, like, stick with it.
Yeah, that's super smart. But so I was checking out your Instagram, and it looks like you really enjoy getting creative with your workouts and with some of your strength training and cardio. And like I saw the video of you taking a 10-pound slam ball out with some friends to the beach volleyball courts and tossing that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that because, like you said, it's all about movement. And whatever it is, it's going to get you outside and moving in ways that kind of challenge you to do a little more than you would otherwise, or use some muscles that kind of tend to just sit back and relax most of the time, I think is awesome. So I wondered, not to put you on the spot or anything, but do you have other examples of how you've kind of mixed things up in that type of a way, where you've maybe taken equipment somewhere where you wouldn't normally use it, or used it in a different way that ended up being super fun?
Totally. So I just want to say this in terms of like what you're asking. I used to be the person that was like terrified to join in on things like that because I didn't think I could do it.
No way.
This is like a real thing that like sits heavy in my heart. Like, I didn't want to go hiking with friends. I didn't, even if it was like a walk, I would feel so anxious about it because I was like, I'm going to be out of breath. I can't do it. It's hurt. What if this, what if that? And like, again, this is progress, but what's so awesome now is I haven't played what we call the Hoover ball, the one with the heavy slam ball. I haven't played that since last year. And I was totally fine because I've been moving all year long, right? So the cool thing is that if we have some sort of routine in terms of movement on a regular basis, you can go do something different and feel great. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of that new stimulus. So the Hoover Bowl, I think, is one of the most fun / ridiculous things I've ever done. But I love to like go out. I don't know if anyone's in Brooklyn. Fort Greene Park has just like a fantastic staircase to just run up and down the stairs, walk up and down the stairs. Sometimes if I'm like with friends in the park and we see something heavy, we'll just kind of pick that up for shits and giggles. Can we lift that thing, whatever it might be? If you've seen on my Instagram, I really like lifting my friends up. I don't know why. I just do. I'm the strong friend. I like to put people on my shoulders, things like that.
That's awesome. It's like play all the time.
All the time. I really wish that there were full adult playgrounds everywhere. I know that there's Spartan style gyms, like the obstacle course gyms are becoming more and more of a thing, which is really fun because, I think imagine if we kept that ability all the time, it would be great.
I'm sorry, you went out just a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. I live in a basement apartment and the subway goes by. Sorry about that.
I think it was just after you mentioned the Spartan gym.
I was saying, so there are lots of obstacle course gyms now, which are great because, like, imagine when we were kids, we used to be on the playground and on the monkey bars all the time. And then we kind of stopped doing that because it's not as available to, teenagers and adults. But if it were, you would never lose that ability.
You've trained celebrities in the past. So what was that like? And seriously, are they really just like us? Do they have the same insecurities we do?
They are just like us.
Yeah, so I figure.
Yeah, they are just like us. I will say the only difference they have is it's a little harder for them in terms of consistency. So most of us that have, and I talked about this earlier, most of us that have somewhat of a consistent life, it actually is easier to get regular movement in because you can schedule it into your life, or at least try your best. And literally the only difference I can think of with the celebrities is that they are on the road constantly and they never know when it's going to happen. But otherwise they are the same.
So you have a really cool variety of certifications. And that makes me curious. You were talking about the things that you like to do, and you listed a whole lot of things that you enjoy. If you had to choose just one thing to be able to do for, I don't know, the next month, could you choose one? And would that change if it was the fact that you could teach that versus had to just use that as your workout?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love a barbell. I love the barbell. You can do so many things with a barbell. I think my answer would be if I could only use one piece of equipment, it would be a barbell. And if I could only teach with one thing, it would still be the barbell.
Ooh, that's fascinating. We have a writer who feels very similarly about the barbell, and she just, I don't know if it'll probably be live by the time this episode publishes. But yeah, we'll have to send it over to you because you'll get a kick out of it. Because she's like, yeah, no, you guys, it's great. If you're not using it, you need to.
Yes. And I will say, so I have lots of clients that are beginners and they make different weighted barbells. And some people, maybe the first thing you do is not with a barbell, but they're all the same movements. And I think that's where people get like intimidated by seeing new things. But a squat is a squat is a squat. And you can add different toys to change the squat, but it's still a squat. And so even if my one tool was a barbell, it's still a squat.
If you could give advice, if you could just talk to your younger self, the young Morit, what advice would you give her?
Ooh.
I know, a little deep.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, I would tell her to not care so much about the acne on her face. Because it's still going to be there when she's 30-something years old.
I was going to say, I need that advice right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's still going to be there, and no one cares except for you. I would say that. The second thing, I think that, I would definitely bring up just for me right now, so I'm a single woman living in Brooklyn, and that can get kind of rough depending on my mindset and my the day that I'm having. But I feel like that was kind of always a thing for me when I was younger too, because I was so insecure. And so if I could go back and tell my younger self to just chill out and it will all happen. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. That's what I would tell her.
Nice.
That's great advice. So on a lighter note, what music do you keep pumping in your gym?
So we change it up on an everyday basis. We have Spotify and we literally put on oldies, we put on rock, we put on 90s hip hop, we put on new music every day. We just change it up. One of my, I worked in a big gym for over 10 years, and the repeating playlist basically killed me. I just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
So if a client requests something, we'll put that on. Otherwise, we just change it on a regular. I love listening to old 60s and 70s music sometimes. I love good rock and roll. I love good 90s hip hop. It just changing it up.
Well, do you know that we have our own Spotify lists?
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. This podcast is on Spotify, and we have a playlist on. We have several playlists on Spotify. You have to find us.
Oh, we have got loads.
Yeah,
we do.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll have to send it to you because we keep an eye out for new music each month, and whatever we think would be awesome to add to a workout playlist, we share.
Well, then perfect. That sounds great to me.
It's super fun.
Do you have any rules for social media, by the way? Are there parts of your life you choose not to share?
So I have PCOS, and I have brought that up before. I also have lupus. And I have told my followers it's not something I share on a regular basis for a couple reasons. One of the reasons is that I don't think it should disturb my life, and I don't think that it changes anything, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I try really hard to not let it be any sort of excuse, because I think that sometimes we unfortunately use things as excuses. And so I try to do the opposite and say, I just want to keep myself healthy. So just keep rolling on, keep rocking on, keep going. But, I have I'm on the spectrum of things that you could have with PCOS. For the most part, I'm good to go, but I have some symptoms that I hate and they make me miserable. And so I don't share that on a regular basis, just because, it's hard to talk about, and, being a woman sometimes is really rough.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I know that you are super busy with, new gym and getting all of that rolling and smoothed out. But do you have anything big coming up that you're excited about that you'd like to share?
I don't have, so if I could just say, like, keep an eye out for April of next year.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
I'm hoping to have something set up for April. Again, it's not set up yet, so I don't really want to bring it up just because.
Sure.
But in the like current, right now, it's really just been about opening the gym.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit. So.
Well, can you tell people where they can find you on social media so they can keep on top of your news?
Absolutely. So my personal is at Morit Summers, and then the gym is at Form Fitness BK. And then most of our stuff is happening on Instagram. We do have a Facebook page, which is Form Fitness Brooklyn. It's, it's not super active yet. I'm trying my best. I'm actually not really that great at the Facebook thing. So I'm trying my best.
Can we ask you just one more question before we go?
Yeah, of course.
All righty. So we ask this of everybody who appears on the show, so I hope you're ready.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's a big one. So, Morit, what was the last song you listened to before you did this podcast interview?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I have no idea. I was at CrossFit and the radio was playing, but I don't know what was playing.
Do you have a song that like sticks in your head?
I can't think of the name of it. So, do you know the movie The Greatest Showman?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so the song with the bearded lady that sings, it's such a good song. This Is Me by Kayla Seattle.
Awesome.
Very cool.
It's such a good song. And they have like a funky remix too, which like if you need something a little faster, I really enjoy. So
nice. And I just saw something today saying that there's like a whole album of The Greatest Showman covers coming out.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I don't know if that's gonna light you up, but just so you know, be aware.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for appearing on our show today.
Thank you.
Love this show? Tell us why in a 5-star review on iTunes and we'll read it on the air. Also, make sure you are a subscriber. If you want to reach out to say hi or have a question about a recent episode, yay, well, feel free to email us at podcast@fitbottomgirls.com. And if this podcast jives perfectly with your brand, consider sponsoring the show. Get more info by emailing advertising@fitbottomgirls.com. Find all kinds of Fit Bottom goodness online and on social media at Fit Bottom Girls, Fit Bottom Mamas, Fit Bottom Eats, and Fit Bottom Zen. And if books and movies are your thing, check out the other podcast I co-host called Book versus Movie, which you can find anywhere where you search for podcasts. Thanks for listening.